Hey folks, CA Rachna Ranade here. This video is brought to you by Madhouse Media. Well, in today's video, we are going to talk about solar stocks, a space which had big promises but unfortunately it delivered poor returns. So, we are going to try and understand what went wrong. We'll understand with the help of five major pointers. Number one, we'll talk about are solar stocks really in pain or not. Number two, we'll understand the entire value chain of solar. Then we'll understand the key problems, followed by the solutions, and ultimately, as an investor, what should you focus on? Now, talking about the very first point, are solar stocks in pain? For that, let me show you a chart. Now, if you see here, barring these 3 4 companies, majority of the solar stocks are in pain. They have given negative returns if I were to compare the current market price with 1st of November 2024. Of course, this is not 100% or an exhaustive list of solar stocks. I've taken these names as examples. Okay. Now, talking about few stocks, something like Adani Energy Green, of course, is not 100% into solar, but it does have a solar exposure. That's down by almost 37%. Something like SW Energy is down by 63%. Even renowned names like Premier Energies is down by 14%. And be it Vari Renewables or Vari Energies, they have given a single digit return. So we have to understand that despite solar being such a buzzword, why did these stocks give poor returns? So we are going to understand the problems and the solutions, but before that, we have to understand the entire value chain. Whenever prices of solar stocks go down, people will be sad. But whenever the prices of my courses go down, people are happier. And based on your requests, this is a year-end discount on our courses that I'm announcing right now. If you want to enroll for a single course, you get a flat 10% off. Don't forget to use this coupon code. And if you are enrolling for a combination of courses or combo courses, that's the coupon code that you can use to avail a 15% discount. Now, which course to enroll for is also a question which is very frequently asked. So for that, if you check our website, if you're a basic beginner, absolute beginner, and you want to start with absolute basics, mastering money management and mutual funds is the course for you. But if you want to learn about the magical world of stock market right from scratch, to if you want to go to the level of taking decisions on your own without asking anybody, you need to go ahead with basics of stock market, fundamental analysis, technical analysis, and decoding price action analysis as well. Once you do these 4 courses, you will be able to take trades confidently by yourself. Very important point is, apart from this knowledge, once you complete the courses, you'll also get a nice certificate that you have successfully completed my courses. Not only this, you will also get some additional perks that you can see on screen. You'll also get access to a Zoom meeting, a monthly Zoom meeting, where you get an opportunity to interact directly with me and ask whatever doubts you have about these courses. So looking forward to you all participating in our courses, upskilling yourself in the coming year. If you want to know more, don't forget to just drop a WhatsApp on this number and you will find the link of our courses in the pinned comment and in the description box below. Now let's understand this entire solar value chain with the help of a very simple example. Okay. Now first, let's talk about an IPP or a developer. IPP basically is an independent power producer. So this could be a company which says that, okay, we are ready to set up solar panels so that we ourselves will produce energy, solar energy, and we will distribute it, we'll sell it basically. Okay. Now IPP is ready to maybe purchase land, set up power plant, set up these solar panels on that, manufacture or produce energy, and ultimately sell it. But the big question is, they don't have the expertise to actually gauge how much land will be required, how much gigawatts of energy needs to be actually produced, or whatever, how much solar panels will be required. So for that, they will consult an EPC company. Now, what is EPC company? It's a company which will deliver EPC services like engineering, procurement, and construction services. So this company will tell us, okay, this much land parcel will be required, these many solar modules will be required, this will generate so much gigawatts of energy or whatever. Okay. Now this is done, but ultimately this company is not going to manufacture solar cells or solar panels or solar modules. So for that, whom do we need? We need a manufacturer. Okay, so manufacturer will be the company which will manufacture all these cells, modules, la la la. And ultimately, when the independent power producer is able to actually generate energy with the help of solar modules, we will need another company which will be in the O&M category, which is the operations and maintenance category. They will be the ones who will look after the solar panels. Okay, so I've also given you few examples in each and every category so that you are able to visualize as well. Note, all these are again examples, not only these companies are in these categories. Plus, I can also tell you that there are some companies which are vertically integrated. For example, Wari Energies. They are also fitting into the manufacturing category as well as the EPC category. Okay, so I hope the entire solar value chain is absolutely clear. In the next section, we'll try and understand what are the problems in this space. Now let's focus on three key reasons as to why solar stocks have underperformed. But wait, I'm going to tell you one more big problem that these stocks are facing. But I'm not going to talk about the fourth problem in singularity. I'll also talk about what steps government is taking to tackle the fourth key problem. So the video is going to be super important. Keep on watching the video till the end. Let's start with reason number one, which is supply glut and price wars. See, basically, when the entire solar boom started, there were comparatively lesser number of players. But when everyone started to understand that, okay, this seems to be a big opportunity, the number of players which started to come in and manufacture solar cells and solar panels, that boosted like anything. So obviously, supply was way more greater than actual demand, right? So is that normal economics, right? More supply, lesser demand, or even similar demand, is the price going to drop? Answer is yes. Will that create a margin pressure? Yes, but this is a double whammy. Why? It was not only reduction in sale prices, it was combined with increase in raw material prices, because one of the key raw materials for manufacturing solar panels is silver. And if you have watched this video of mine which is about silver, you would definitely understand silver has given great returns for investors, but for manufacturers of solar panels, it increased the raw material cost, and thereby it squeezed their margins as well. So this was problem number one: decrease in sale price, increase in costs, thereby squeezing margins, and obviously that's the reason why stock prices corrected. Number two, it's about the US tariff which hit the exports of solar panels. Now you'll be surprised to know that 80% of Indian solar components, whatever is the export, right, that go only to the US. So let me tell you one more time: whatever solar components we export, 80% of that goes only to USA. India's exports dropped from $134 million in August to $80 million in September. So that seems like a very big drop, right? Just one key point here is that whenever I'm talking about exports to USA, that export will not be done only by listed players. It will be done by listed and unlisted players. So a little bit difficult for me to actually gauge the exact impact of how much drop was because of US export tariffs. Okay, so that was the second point. Third point: now, because everyone was so bullish about the solar themes, these stocks were on a crazy ride. Now, what happens when prices shoot up like anything, and if earnings don't catch up accordingly, their PE boost to a great level, to a huge level. Now, whenever we talk about crazy levels of PE, what does it mean? It means that absolute perfection is built into the prices. And if the stocks are not able to deliver properly, if the results are not that great, PEs are going to crash, and P's crash is equal to the prices basically crash, because of which PE drops. Can you believe? I'm going to give you 2-3 examples to kickstart. Wari Energy, PE at peak was 260, and post correction current PE is at 28. KPI Green, peak PE 71, current PE at 21. One more example, Solex, peak PE at 449 and current PE at 27. Just 3 examples. You can see few more stocks here on the screen, but all in all, you can see that this is a classic example of a PE derating, where multiple investors felt that this is not a worth PE for such stocks, because the results that they were delivering were not up to the mark. Okay, so that's why we saw a PE derating. These are the top 3 problems, and in the next section, very important, I'm going to talk about the biggest problem, but very important, along with steps that government is taking to solve these problems. Now talking about the fourth and the most important problem: stuck government projects. Now India auctioned around 88 gigawatts of projects of solar and renewable capacity in the last 2 years, but out of which roughly 43 gigawatts of projects are currently stuck. Now, what could be the multiple reasons? See, first, before we go on to the reasons, we need to understand this. Whenever I say government projects are now stuck, what does it mean? It means that no revenue will start flowing to the company. If no see, whenever we price in a stock, we say that this much is the expected revenue. If this much is the expected revenue, this much is the expected profit, and that is why the prices rise. But when these projects get stuck, obviously revenue projections will drop, profits will drop, and ultimately prices will also drop. The question is that why were these projects stuck? The first point here is that the projects were awarded by the government even before ensuring that there were buyers for this. Who are going to be the buyers? Buyers are going to be typically discoms. So let's take a simple example. Assume that I am an independent power producer, IPP. Remember the value chain, right? So I'm the IPP. I was awarded this project. Okay. Now I will calculate, okay, this much of capital expenditure will be required, so many crores, right? But then I know that there is no discom in my example, let's say Maharashtra MSEDC, Maharashtra State Electricity Distribution Corporation. I don't have any buyer in front of me, no discom who is willing to buy the power from me. So will I think twice before making this big capex? Absolutely yes. So the first reason why these projects were stuck is that the project was awarded, but I did not have any PPAs signed before I got this project. What is a PPA? Power purchase agreement. Ideally, such projects should have been in place first. So obviously, what is the solution that the government is coming up with? Solution is that step number one, PPAs will be signed, power purchase agreements will be signed with the power producers, and then the government will come up with more and more of auctions. Okay, so good step that the government has taken. Number two, problem: solar without storage is mismatched. Now, what is this? Mismatched what? Mismatched demand and supply. So the big problem here is that peak demand, so or peak solar generation happens somewhere between 10 in the morning to 3 in the afternoon. Okay, that's where the peak generation will happen, peak supply will happen. But when does the peak demand come in? Peak demand comes in at night. Now the problem here is that we don't have a lot of projects where power storage is available. Now, why is that so? Because if we were to save the solar energy, we need battery systems. Okay. Now, these BESS or the battery systems, if installed, they increase the cost by 30 to 50%. Now, you can imagine that why would discoms agree to buy solar energy? Because they would get it at a cheaper rate as compared to thermal power. But if because of battery, if the prices shoot up by 30 to 50%, then can I say the discoms will not agree to buy this alternate source of green energy? Yes. So now what is the solution here is that now the discoms are saying that unless and until you come up with a battery storage solution, we will not agree to the project. The big or the important point here is that with as technology goes ahead, automatically the costs drop. Just for your understanding, even the battery storage costs have gone down drastically over the past few years. So in simple words, as and how these battery solutions become cheaper, the solar projects will become much more viable, and these stuck projects will slowly and steadily keep on improving. Okay. Next one is land acquisition problem. Now, what is that? If we want to install huge solar panels, of course, we would need land, and acquiring such land, that too at a cheaper cost, is becoming a problem. So, right now, I'm sure government is exploring different ways and means for that. If we can install solar panels on water or even on mountains, if that be so, of course, this problem can be solved in a simpler way, maybe. And ultimately, the fourth one is grid bottlenecks. There is distribution but no transmission. Now, what do I mean by this? Assume that everything is okay. I'm the independent power producer. The contract has been awarded to me. Number two, I have Discom who has signed a PPA with me and is ready to buy energy from me. But the ultimate problem is that transmission lines are not in place to carry that extra uh, power which has been generated. So let's say I'm ready with the power and with the greater installed capacity, let's say by the year 2027, but the transmission will the extra transmission lines which can carry the extra load, if they would be ready 1 or 2 years later, is that going to again is that again going to create a problem? Answer is yes. So again, what government is ensuring now, they're ensuring that all these transmission lines, basically the last mile delivery, is solved for, and then only additional power projects are awarded. Moving on with the grand finale, which is about the investor implications. In the short term, I hope you understand that because of the existing problems, could there be some pain? Yes. But in the medium to long term, I hope you have already understood this, that government is coming up with a solution. And with this, in the medium to long term, ideally the pain should not persist. I think the government will focus on, rather than, X gigawatts of projects awarded, rather than giving focus on that, focus will be given on qualitative implementation of that, ensuring that the PPAs are actually signed, ensuring that the storage costs go down, ensuring that yes, proper transmission lines are in place which actually carry that much load. So if the execution part is taken care of, I'm sure the pain will vanish. Okay, so I hope you have found a lot of value in today's video. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye bye. You might have come across such advertisements on various social media platforms. Please note, all of these are fraudsters promising unbelievable returns through stock tips. I don't provide any calls or advisory services. I provide only educational content through my social media handles and through my website rachanaranade.com and rachanaranade.in.